Hey guys, it's Fire here, and today I'm going to be doing a Renekton commentary. This is my first Season 4 commentary I'm going to be doing, but I will be doing a lot more for every different role. I've had a lot of university papers due in this week, but that's all done with, so I'm going to be producing videos every couple of days like I was before. So the really observant ones of you, and the ones who read the title, will see that I'm not playing AD this time, I'm playing Renekton. Now for a couple of reasons, I think I want to expand the channel into a lot of different roles rather than just AD, but I really didn't have an AD commentary that I thought was worth showing, so I'm still going to be doing mainly AD, but there'll be a lot of different stuff on the channel as well. Now the reason I picked this commentary in particular is because top is very similar to AD in that you're on an island, even more so in top, for about 15 or 20 minutes into the game. Now this isn't really the way to win solo queue. It's not enough to just beat your opponent and have a marginal CS lead on them. You kind of need to have an impact in the rest of the game. So this is kind of what I want to show you in this commentary, how you can actually snowball the top advantage and take the game with it. So I'm going to be playing the lane phase pretty slow, maybe even normal speed or double speed, just to show you exactly what I'm trying to do. And then I'll kind of speed it up when we get to mid-game. So you can see there that Jax's early damage is his counter-strike. So what I did was I stunned him as he activated the counter-strike, then walked backwards out of the stun, and then that kind of meant I didn't get stunned, and it reduces his early damage by a lot. Now the reason I'm pushing on Renekton is because when you have a Fury bar, Rage bar, you're insanely strong. That's when you have lane control. You can see I just did like 20% health to him with a single W just because I had Rage built up. Now, I did exactly the same as I did to him the first time. He didn't learn his lesson. I stunned him and then walked backwards. And I'm now level 2, so I have a level advantage. I'm going to go in and immediately trade with him because I've got the advantage. And when you use your abilities on an enemy, it means that you build up your rage even more. And now that I'm like almost 2 full stacks of rage, it means I'm in a really good position for the lane control. The other thing to note as well is Renekton is good in lane, but he falls off a lot harder than Jax does, which means I need to punish him early. So here I mess it up a little bit. I don't end up dodging the stun, and this is where I'm kind of in a really difficult situation. I'm going to pause this. I never like pausing commentaries, but I'm going to do it this time because this is where the whole game gets set up really. So you can see at the moment I'm like 20%, he's about 50%, but the reason I'm going in is because I have my rage. I'm almost about to hit level 3 of 2 minions or 1 minion, and I have ignite and he has TP. If he had ignite here I would have just backed, but I don't. You can see as I press play that I'm going to hit level 3 off this minion as he comes in. I'm going to stun, ignite, and use my Q, and that's him dead. Now, kind of snowball off of that play. So, obviously, if he had ignite, I really wouldn't have done that, because the problem is that if that had gone the other way, or if we traded kills, it kind of sets both of you up for the rest of the game. It makes both of you more powerful, and so the next time you come back, it's even more down to it. So if you both trade again, then you're both getting stronger, but that doesn't really help your team. Like, while you're getting stronger, the enemy is as well, and so when you both come off lane, they're going to have a big impact as well as you, and I really don't like playing that kind of play style. So you see again, I'm trying not to trade with him too much, like I'm dodging his stun with my E until I have my rage bar. Udi does come here, but Counter-Strike already missed, so they've got no kill potential. Now Zed dies in the mid lane, so I decided to go and kind of relieve some pressure and try and kill Syndra. I flash to the minions, or flash forward, E to the minions, and then E to her because I got my double jump off of my E. Unfortunately, she still flashes away, but it does relieve some pressure for Zed, and considering he's losing his lane, that kind of indirectly helps him hopefully survive, because when Syndra doesn't have flash, she's very immobile anyway. Zed is a good assassin, and so he should be able to kill her on his own. So you can see now I have 2 rage bars, which means I'm in complete control of this lane, and this is where I'm freezing it. So you can see that right now I'm only last hitting because I want him to come in for last hits and I want to kill him. So I'm just freezing it. Like, obviously the reason you can freeze in a lane is because you're stronger. It revolves around the whole idea that if he comes for a minion, you can fight and you can push him away. If he's stronger than you and he can push him away, then freezing doesn't work because he's going to come in anyway. He does fall for this noob trap of coming for the canyon, so I just walk forward. I then stun him, obviously get my Q off, and then just put some good damage onto him. The problem with Jax at the moment, I can see he's got no health potions, and he's not really got any damage either, which means I'm in a really good spot right now. That was the wrong way, sorry. So I'm just going to ward, I'm going to go forward, and this is kind of where he makes a really big mistake. So you see right now I'm trying to pressure him, and I want to dive him, which is why I placed my ward right then. He uses his counter-strike, like, a bit silly here, but he could have just run away, because as soon as that counter-strike is down, I'm going to dive him. Like, I'm in a position to do it. He knows I want to do it, and so I'm just going to dive him straight out. There's no way he could have stopped me. You can see right now as well, what I'm trying to do is just try and have a bit more of an impact on the game. I could have just recalled, but I know that it's 8 minutes into the game. I know that blue buff should be spawning and Udyr's not around right now. I don't have a ward, so I place myself right here. You can see next to the wall, so that if he does come for me, I can just E away. So even though that's kind of a risky play, seeing the blue buff, it means I indirectly help my mid laner again, relieve some pressure from mid. So even though I'm winning my lane, I'm kind of influencing other lanes on the map. But there was no risk for me because I could have just run away if I had to. So you can see again, I'm just literally... unfortunately, when it gets to your tower, you can't freeze it anymore, so I'm kind of having to push it. Right here, though, he makes... Well, he does a reasonably good play if I decide to fight him. He uses his ultimate, and as soon as he uses his ultimate, I just double dash away because there's no point me staying there anymore. At this point, I actually remember thinking to myself whether Udyr was right there because he turned around and he tried to trade with me, like, really full in engage, and considering I'm stronger, that was a really dumb move from him if his jungler wasn't there. He tried to fake me out, it didn't work, I turned around, and that gamble or bluff kind of cost him his flash. Huz did come up to try and finish the kill, we don't unfortunately get that, but right now I'm going to try and push the wave again, because you always want to push it to the tower to punish the laner when you're beating them, and then I'm going to go mid lane and try and pick up a kill. You can see that they've gone all in, Zed's had to flash out, but I'm going to flash, I'm going to pop my ultimate, ignite. The ultimate was kind of overkill, but my thought was that Syndra's really difficult to get onto because she can just E you away mid-dash, which means that it kind of screws over your complete combo. The reason I used my ultimate was because it has AoE damage, and it also builds my Fury bar, so it means I would have done a lot more damage with my Q, and it's just kind of security to make sure I pick up the kill. I wouldn't have probably done that if it was just a random kill, but because we can get the dragon off of the back of it, it makes it worth the cooldown. So right now I'm just going to recall and I'm going to head back top lane. You can see my build. I will talk about my build very quickly. Now, Renekton, you can either go full tank or you can go damage. The problem is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that Jax will outscale me, like 100%. It's actually a very good play here. I'm going to just quickly mention this, that Jax actually goes mid lane. He doesn't manage to pick up a kill, but he does manage to pick up a tower. And if you look at where the lane is right now, there's nothing he can do. Like, it's pushing towards me. He's not strong enough to fight me. He knows I'm going to be returning to lane very shortly, so he just goes mid lane and he gets a tower. So that's actually a really good play by Jax. There was nothing I could do either, and that is kind of his way of having an impact on the rest of the map, even though he's still losing his lane. So that was a really good play by him. Now, as I was saying, there are a couple of builds you can go. You either go full tank or full damage, or even a bit of both, which is what I'm doing. The reason I'm getting a brutalizer is because Jax has started to build some armor to try and mitigate some of my damage, but I really want to just be able to hammer him in lane and keep my advantage. Eventually he will outscale me if I just build full defense. If you build full defense, you're building for team fighting, whereas I still want to punish him in lane so that he can't just free farm. You notice at the moment I'm about 20 CS ahead, even though this is pushing to him, so he will pick up a couple of CS as well. 20 CS lead is still not that bad considering I've roamed and had an impact on the rest of the map as well, and it means that I'm going to be more of a threat, especially considering how fed I am really. Now the second part, the cow on my build, is for a Spirit Visage. Now the reason I'm getting this is because Jax is mainly magic damage and Syndra's pretty fed as well. Now something I do want to mention very quickly in this part is that I think I end up dying. Yeah, I do end up dying, and this is completely my fault, but my reasoning was that Jax only has a Vamp Scepter, and so he alone cannot kill me. Udyr, last time I saw him, had a longsword, but since then he's gone back and he's finished off that Spirit of the Elder Lizard. So I don't expect the Spirit of the Elder Lizard, I don't expect Udyr to do that much damage, and so I kind of underestimated my opponents. I knew that was most likely going to happen because if you look around the rest of the map, there's nothing for really Udyr to do apart from gank me. I'm the one pushed up, everyone else had based, and so logically he was going to come for me. I already knew that. The problem was that I just underestimated his damage and I ended up paying for it. So you can see at the moment I'm freezing because the lane's pushing towards me and I can't see Jax. But now as soon as I see Jax on the map, you can see I just saw him mid lane. I'm going to start pushing because I don't want Jax to roam around the map. I don't want him to have an impact where I'm not. So basically I'm just trying to cost him CS, and as soon as that cost doesn't outweigh kind of his benefit of roaming, I'm going to push it straight away. Now, Jax obviously went bot lane, they picked up a couple of kills, which was good by him, but now Huz is coming top with me to take this tower, so even though he got a couple of kills bot lane, it's still well worth our team for me getting this top turret. Now, right now, I'm going to rotate mid lane after this. There's no reason for me to back right now, and so I want to try and pick up anything else that we can. I believe I'm going to dive onto Udyr right here with Zed, just basic the standard kill, just rotating better and them not realizing, them not having wards. Here I make a mistake. I flash onto Syndra because I think we have the damage. She flashes out and I eat after her, and that was a mistake by me. I should have just backed off. The reason I actually went for that in the first place is because you'll see Zed is top lane. If Zed had actually stayed, we could have picked up that kill quite easily, and I'm not sure why he roamed, but I'm not going to blame him because at the end of the day I should have seen Varus, that Q. I should have seen that he wasn't going to come with me, and so I should have just backed off. So that's pretty much just my mistake. Now right now I'm going to try and go top lane again. Even though Udyr just killed Zed down there, there's no point in me chasing Udyr because I really need to defend the turret. I'm aware that obviously Udyr could come, and so that's why I placed that ward in the tri-brush. This is where trinkets come in really handy, and this is why I take the warding totem on the top laners as well. Because obviously if I didn't see Udyr come then, I would have probably started fighting Jax because I'm so much stronger, and that's when I really would have been kind of screwed. I probably would have died in that case without the ward. So I'm going to rotate bot lane again because I push this in now, and Jax really should go top lane to farm that wave. This means that when I rotate down, I have the pressure on the map. Dragon's going to come up at some point, and we can just look for a fight because Jax isn't going to be here. Unfortunately, Jax is actually still here, so I should have just pushed top, but this is a 4v4. The problem is that we can't, like, we're not already ready to fight. This Varus ult actually locks me up, and it ends up costing us the fight, really, because it stuns onto me, and at this point, I kind of wanted to go in, but Huz's combo wasn't up. And so the problem was that if I had gone in, Huz couldn't follow me up, and we'd have just basically me diving into 4 people was really not a good idea. Ezreal was more of a poke champion anyway, and Jax is still reasonably strong if he's not focused. Like, he's got a lot of damage, but he doesn't have a lot of defense. So in that case, we just kind of back out, and there's no harm in admitting when you're not going to win a fight. The thing is that, like, a lot of lower elo people, when I play on my Smurf especially, people will just fight and they just dive in no matter what. They don't kind of think about it. But you see, we were kind of weighing up our options. We decided it wasn't the right time to go in initially, and so we'd wait to see if there was a good time to go in. There wasn't, so every one of us just backed out. We didn't decide to go in or anything like that. This play is pretty much just because we saw Varus bot lane and we can see Jax taking Wraiths. This means we can see 2 out of 5 members, and then the 2 big damage sources as well, so we know that no one else is coming here. Huz's smite is right on the money, thankfully, and so we turn to Udyr and pick up that kill. This is a really good E by Syndra, and was what I was talking about earlier, which is a pain in the arse to deal with as any kind of immobile top laner or bruiser trying to get onto Syndra. She can just E you away straight away. Now you can see positioning right now, like, I'm reasonably fed. I have a Spirit Visage and I have the health. I have no armor though, this is the thing, so I'm trying not to fight Varus and Udyr. Now it sounds strange because I'm a top laner, but I can pick my fights. I can still act as a front line. I just don't always need to pick on the kind of the AD target if he's not the one at the front. Now you can see we dive in here. Soraka keeps Jax alive, and Udyr has to flash the wall. Unfortunately, Zed goes straight over with him, which is kind of unlucky. Now this is where I also make a mistake. I flash on because I have 2 rage bars and my ultimate, which means I should be able to kill her really quickly. Unfortunately though, Syndra stuns me, Soraka heals, Syndra barriers, and Soraka ults as well, and I'm not expecting that much healing, so I end up dying, and that's just my mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Ezreal picks up a triple kill, so in the end my team's carrying me, that's fine. But if you look at the moment, I've gotten a Sunfire Cape. Now the reason I'm going Sunfire Cape is because I just want to be a front line. You can see we have Zed. We also have Ezreal, and Ezreal is doing really well at the moment. He's 8-2 fire, which means that in reality, I don't really need to be a huge damage source. I kind of just need to be the front line for my team. So this is about proper itemization when you're playing a tanky person. But right here, I'm just going to dive on, and I'm going to go straight for Syndra. I'm going to ignore Soraka because I don't really want that kill. I want to make sure we can kill Syndra. Now the reason I wanted to kill Syndra more than Soraka, even though obviously support is not as worth as much as your mid laner, the reason behind it is because if Soraka was alive, but if Soraka was dead but Syndra wasn't, then Syndra stands a much better chance of delaying our push. Like, she can wave clear, she does a lot more damage, and so it's much better for me to focus the target that is going to stop us pushing. So we can see that that is kind of desperation plays right here, but we're not going to get cocky. We're just going to run back because it's going to be difficult for us to actually do anything. Syndra's alive, Jax is in 10 seconds, and Varus and Udyr are both alive as well. Now fighting under 2 turrets like that is definitely not going to be a good choice. And you can see how that was kind of the right thing. Like, that wasn't a good choice because we just lost 4 people for nothing by getting caught mid lane. Imagine if that had happened in our base. Like, that would have been even more stupid, like even more one-sided, and all 5 of us probably would have lost. So that was a kind of mistake by my team, but I just decided to back out. I didn't want to follow them, and it turned out to be the right play. So let's just look at my build again, and then I'll talk about what we're actually trying to do right now. So I've gone a Yumu's Ghostblade. Now the reason for this is because Black Cleaver is good for like the rest of my team, and in this case it may have been good because Zed obviously scales with the armor penetration, so does Ezreal, so do I, and so does Huz. But I just wanted to eliminate one target really quickly. Yumu's increases your single target damage, whereas Black Cleaver kind of increases your AoE, because Black Cleaver, like, the reason I would buy it is so that when I Q, the armor penetration stacks hits onto everyone around me. Everyone that gets hit by my Q will get the debuff onto them, and so that's the reason I would have bought that. Now the other thing, like obviously what we're trying to do at the moment is we're just trying to get the Baron because it's the next target. Now right here you see I'm going to jump onto Syndra straight away. I'm going to flash, use my E. Thresh actually manages to pick up that kill, which was really good. And I'm going to go straight for Varus. Now those were the 2 priority targets in the fight, and so those are the 2 obviously that I went straight for. Even if I had died, it was my job to keep them out of the fight. You can see that Soraka silenced me, so I couldn't get over the wall, but I just stayed next to the wall. I didn't try and run round because it was still going to be worth my time just sitting there. I'm now going to pick up 2 kills. I'm going to turn onto Soraka here because I apply my red buff, and so she's a free kill. Like, even though Udyr is the higher priority target right there, the fight's already over, and Udyr is bloody quick, like really quick, and there's no way I'm going to catch him. Like, unfortunately he tries, or fortunately for us, he tries to fight Huz, and so Ezreal picks up the kill. But if I'd gone after him, there's no guarantee that I'm going to pick up that kill, whereas there is the guarantee I'm going to pick up Soraka. So we're going to pick up this Baron. This game is pretty much over at this point, but the kind of things that we've been doing as much as possible is I've been trying to roam, take turrets. I've kind of come from behind and ganked the mid lane a couple of times. I've come down and secured the dragon, and now it's just like basically us grouping. Like, I'm doing really well. Like, me and Jax have the same farm. When you get to a good level of play, this can happen a lot as well. Like, I've even been on gold on my Smurf, and people's ability CS is actually pretty good. So they'll often keep up with me in CS. I'll only have a small lead. But the real difference between me and them is just the decision making and the things that you do that's different to them. So they would just stay in lane and farm and push turrets and not really move until they really had to. Whereas in solo queue, it's always better if you make the first move. Like, you want to be the one initiating, you want to be the one pushing turrets, not kind of trying to react to the team. So you can see this is pretty much going to be the last fight. Jax has jumped in. I'm going to turn straight onto him. I'm looking at the corner of my eye to try and get onto Syndra because she's the next priority target for me. She's a lot stronger than Varus. I'm going to dive straight onto Syndra, and we managed to pick up that kill as well. Notice, so in all of these fights, I'm looking for the highest priority target that I can actually get onto. There's no point me getting kited around. Varus is pretty good with his ultimate and his flash, his E. Syndra's good with her E. So if I can't get onto them and I don't have the cooldowns, I'm not even going to bother trying. Even though that kind of sounds pretty selfish, I don't want to die because I'm in a reasonably good spot with my items, so I can just wait for an opportunity to get onto them, and then I'm actually going to do it. I'm not going to force anything, and I'm not just going to run into them, because at the end of the day that doesn't really help anything. You're just going to die for free, and if this was a closer game, possibly I would have had to, but because we're ahead, there's no need for me to overextend.